So you mislead everything.
Yes.
Oh, nasty.
Super illegal. That can make you millions and even make it viable for you. If you look at our outfit, do you think everything is done and made in Stockholm or Sweden?
No, I think nothing.
No.
Some businesses cut costs with strategy. Others might cross the line. Welcome to the world of tariff engineering, where one small tweak can save you millions or maybe get you into illegal trouble.
Indeed.
That's why we have our business lawyer Kat here today. She's going to explain
Hello.
tariff engineering for us, when it can be legal and the illegal traps as well.
Yeah.
So, first of all, engineering in tariffs.
Yeah. So tariffs, and right now it's on the news everywhere, right?
Everywhere and every day.
Yeah. So there's a lot of misinformation and there's a lot of information about the news and the politics going on. We will help you with the baseline, the business legal facts, strategies, actions that you can do and that you cannot do that will be relevant also going forward, because tariffs and tariff engineering, that has been going on for centuries.
Yes, so it's nothing new. It's just now it's very popular.
Yeah, and it can really, really make or break your international scaling, your company, your competitive edge. So, well, break it down.
Yes, so we're going to tell you exactly how it is. You hear it here at Business Law Toolbox, here to educate you.
Yep.
So you're in safe hands now.
So tariffs, as well know, is a tax, a cost that you have to pay as an importer if you bring products, goods, and sometimes services into a country. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the baseline. So let's start with the illegal ways, because it can be very, very tempting. If you realize that, wow, my goods cost 100, but with the tariffs, it will be 150. I cannot compete. Or I cannot buy it to myself because I need it in my production. It's a component in what I sell to my end customers. So it can be very tempting. And no, don't do it.
Don't do it.
No.
So we're going to start with the first illegal way.
Yeah.
It's undervaluing of goods.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
So the most common type of tariff will be ad valorem tariff, which is a percentage of the goods, the product you bring into the country. So if I sell it to you for 100 and the tariff is 20%, then you will need to pay $20 in tariff, right?
Yeah.
So it can be incredibly tempting to just write 50. And suddenly you only have to pay 10. And suddenly I feel that I'm much more competitive in your country, let's say the US, right? Or I might even have subsidiaries. I might even do transfer pricing, selling it to myself, to a company that I control, to sell it forward in the US, right? So even with transfer pricing, you need to be authentic, honest, the value. Keep it as it is. Do not play around with it in the customs, in the forms you fill out.
Rule number one.
Rule number one.
Don't do it. And then the other one is misclassification of products. And what do you mean by that?
Also, because all tariffs are based on the so-called harmonized system. This is basically all countries use the same. It's a codification where you classify the products in careful details. It's so many different categories. So it's not just selling a coat. It's a women's coat. It's a coat made out of cotton or silk. It's a summer coat. It can be so many things. It can be apparel for sportswear, etc. So it can be tempting if you notice that the classification you have used has a tariff of 75. And then there's a close by product category that has a tariff of 20. I mean, obviously.
Yeah, you think about it.
Yeah, you might be selling for millions, right? Or importing as part of your product line. So that's a big. I mean, we see it happening. You think that you will not be checked. Please, please, please be mindful and do seek expert help if you need to ensure that you use the right classification, because it's your responsibility.
Yeah, really good. And then the third one is origin washing. What is that?
We heard a lot about that. You know, right now when there's so high tariffs against China.
Yeah.
But again, this will be relevant long time forward.
Exactly.
And has been relevant a long time historically.
Mm.
So what you do is you want to keep your business as it is. You want to source from China, or you have your production in China, but you do not want to pay those tariffs.
No. So how do
you do it? You route it through another country, and you give that new country as the origin.
Oh.
So you ship it through Taiwan, put a new stamp on it, and then ship it further. And that's not okay.
So you mislead everything?
Yes.
Oh, not
super illegal. So just rerouting your product and then putting a new stamp made in Taiwan is not okay.
It's not okay.
No.
And the fourth one is false documentation.
Yeah. So not only do we need to have the right classification, the right country of origin, the right value, there are also really demanding requirements for your documentation. So it can be very tempting that oh wow, I can be eligible for this lower tariff, but I need this and that documentation and certificate showing XYZ as regards the material or the origin. So you might just produce it yourself because you don't have time and it costs money, etc. Not okay. Stick to the rules. Make sure you have the correct documentation. No shortcuts. Trust me, that's fraud and it is not worth it.
And as always, be transparent in what you do. It's for the best.
Yeah. Can be tempting because you're just tired of those delays and everything, but no.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
So we're going to move on to, how you can implicate it instead.
The legal ways.
The fun part. Ways.
The way this is what you should pay attention to.
Now start listening.
Yeah.
The other thing was just for information, but this one you can actually follow and read through step by step.
Yeah.
Because you will be able to use it.
Indeed.
So, to start with the first one, product modification, adding a non-functional component to reclassify a product. Tell us about it. Sounds a bit complex.
It is. But again, we have those HS codes.
Yes.
That product categorization that makes it so that it can be a huge difference between what class. So the most famous example will be the commerce sneaker. Yeah, because sneakers are a much higher tariff going into the US compared to slippers. So what if I put some fuzzy underneath my commerce shoes? Even if it rubs off after a while, you can use it outdoors, right?
Yeah.
Legal.
It is.
Yep. They won. So, they save millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Yes.
We're not talking about nice to have. We're talking about wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and another example can be a plastic bag. That can be a tariff of, let's say, 3.5%. And you ship plastic bags for a few millions each year, right? But if it is instead classified as a package, a plastic bag that's made for packaging, it might be a zero tax on it. Again, we're talking huge sums of money here.
Yes.
So you might just need to put a string on that plastic bag or make a shift in how thick the plastic material is. And completely legal, suddenly you can move from a high tariff product to a low tariff product.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was a really good tip.
Yeah, it's really cool, actually.
It's really cool.
Yeah. But make sure you do it correctly. So seek expert advice so you don't. No fraud, no fake. It must be legit.
Yeah, stay away from that.
Yeah.
So the second one is intended use manipulation.
Yeah. So part of that product classification will be based on what is the intended use. And we kind of touched upon that when we talked about the plastic bags.
Yes.
Are they for reuse or for packaging, right? Another one can be if you have a beauty cream that has a high tariff, and then you just add a tiny bit of an active ingredient And suddenly, it might come into a health category with no or super low tariffs.
Oh.
And you can still see that your target customer will use it the same, like adding some zinc or something. And suddenly the intended use becomes medical or health, but over the counter, of course, and nothing heavy, nothing dangerous, etc. So that's also super smart ways that can make you millions and even make it viable for you. Because otherwise you might not even be able to sell into the US, for example. Right now we're using the US as an example, but it can be Japan. It can be into the EU. Or it can be needing to import a hero product from China into the EU. Anywhere. Think it through.
Think outside the box.
Yeah.
Then the third one is material shifting.
Yeah. We'll also talk about that with the code.
Yeah.
Huge difference depending on what material you use.
Yeah.
And sometimes you use more than one material, so perhaps you can just shift the amount. So right now, steel is, of course, in the limelight.
Yeah.
It has a high tariff into the US, right?
Yeah.
And also products that have a significant amount of steel in them can fall under that tariff. So what if you can lower the steel quantity to such an amount that it will no longer be tariffed as a steel component? That can also be a do or die situation. In particular, if you have production in the US and you need these tools that are made of steel, do they have to be made of steel? Or can we use hard plastic or something else? Copper, I don't know. Or that linen jacket. Perhaps it can be synthetic material.
Wow.
Creative.
We're heading to number 4 now, which is substantial transformation, country of origin jumping.
My favorite.
Oh, bring it on. We want to hear this one.
So, I mean, most of us, if we break it down, anything we have in our business will have a global chain behind it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at our outfit, do you think everything is done and made in Stockholm or Sweden?
No, I think nothing.
No. and I mean, these mics.
Yeah.
Taiwan, China, Japan.
Yeah.
Some high tech. I don't know. Right? So we're all part of this global system.
Yeah.
And what happens when you have components from different regions is that the rule is that the country of origin will be what the tariff is based on.
Okay.
So if a component comes from China, let's say it's a computer company in Germany, calling it made in Germany, they do the last putting on the screen and some design parts in Germany. But prior to that, they have components from Taiwan, Japan, and China. And part of the assembling takes place in China and part in Taiwan, and then everything goes to Germany, and they make that nice little ribbon around it. So up until today, that little ribbon around it in Germany is not substantial transformation. It's just easy packaging. So the tariff will be based on Taiwan, Japan, and China. But if we have components from different parts and we do what is called substantial transformation, then that whole product will have the country of origin where the substantial transformation took place. So what if we don't do as much assembling in China and Taiwan and we send it more de-assembled into Germany? And we put it together and make qualified work so it really does have a transformation in Germany. Suddenly, you're under EU tariffs. Much better.
Wow. So just think about where you produce your things.
Exactly.
Wow.
And how you can argue so it's substantial transformation in a new country in order to stay clear of the worst tariffs while still using those countries to source components or products.
Now you know about that too. So number 5 then, price unbundling.
Yeah.
What is that?
We talked about that pushing down the value without it being true, right?
Yeah.
The illegal part.
The illegal part.
Now we're talking of legal ways.
Tell us more about that.
Because often it might have been that I put a price on the product and I hid different costs in that. Just because you would not pay me for marketing advice, for example. So I sell a product for you for 100 and the tariff is 40. So 100 plus 40 is very high.
Yeah.
Yep. But What if we unbundle that 100? And I say that, you know what? Actually, the price of the product is only 80. Those top 20, those are actually marketing advice that I give you. So I make the contract between you and I clearer. I unbundle what you're paying me for.
Wow.
And suddenly that 40% tariff is on 80 instead of 100. And if we're talking about millions and millions a year, we're talking enormous sums that can be saved by going that way of unbundling the price, so that you make sure that you only pay a tariff on the value of the product and nothing else.
That's genius.
Yeah, I know. So much to do.
Yes. And then we have number 6 now. Establish operations in foreign trade zones.
Yep. So many countries, in particular the US, have trade zones where you bring the product into the US, if you look at the geographic perspective.
Yeah.
But they call it a trade zone, which means that you do not have to pay a tariff when you bring it in. Only when you bring it from that trade zone into the US market do you have to pay the tariff. And that means that some products might never even enter the US market. And you can also make sure that you protect your cash flow, so that you only pay a tariff when they're actually sold to the end consumer. So that can be a really smart way to lower the tariffs and make sure that you do not have to pay them too early, because cash management is king, of course.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Wow. And then we have number 7, utilize duty drawback programs. Tell us.
Yeah. So sometimes a commodity or product enters into a country. It goes from Taiwan to Germany, and then it is sold to, what should we say, Turkey.
Turkey?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. And then sometimes you paid a duty to bring it into Germany, but again, it never really touched the German market, right? So when it exits, you can fill out the right forms and get the paid duty back in certain instances. This also applies in the US, so look out for that.
Great. We're heading out to number 8 then, which is first sale pricing.
Yeah. So also in certain instances, including the US, it can be so that when a product has several steps, suppliers, middlemen, you will have a right to only use the tariff percentage on the value of the first seller. And that means that the sales in between need to be authentic, bona fide, as we call it. Then let's say that it started out at 80, then it was 82, 85, 90. And here is where you enter the US. So instead of slapping on that tariff on the value of 90, you can slap it on that value of 80. If you do it correctly,
it can make a huge difference.
Yeah, incredible.
Wow. Then we had 8 legal steps that you could take when tariff engineering.
Yeah. And kind of fun. It's kind of like a sport, actually.
Yeah, it is. So, I mean, listening to this episode can really help you save money, and you can use for investments instead.
And remember, it's not only if you export to the US. It can be importing and you have a hero product that you need to, you want to push down, or you're afraid that it will get a higher price on. So remember, this is way beyond the current political systems.
Yes, and stay away from the illegal ways as well. So thank you so much, Kat. I'm happy to share this with you guys, and I hope you really learn from this episode. Until next time, rock on with your businesses and read and watch this episode about tariffs.
And it's
not legal advice as usual, it's knowledge sharing.
And please
like and subscribe to our channel.
Hej då!
Hej då!